Hola, minasan! Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back for another round of freelance gaming. How y'all doing? Are you doing good? I'm doing good. And it's the monthly YouTube again. YouTube doing a little monthly how you say? um monthly the monthly YouTube multi-stream. There we go. I gotta work on a name for this. My guys doing some research tonight into Pokemon Magic the Gathering and new research into Babylon 5, adding Babylon 5 into the research. It is a awesome thing. It's a very awesome uh, endeavor. Babylon 5 is one of those most excellently written science fiction stories out there. Well executed world builds, of course. It's that's not actually easy, and went through a whole lot. J. Michael Straczynski went through a whole lot uh, to pull that off and try to keep it all, tightened and under control, so to speak. But yeah, it's one of the best out there, and gonna start doing research into that. And I got Pokemon and Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering is a little bit on the tough side right now. Having a bit of a tough go on choosing how I want to, which one of these stories I want to go, because I'm covering the Phyrexians at the moment. Going through a bit of a tough time with their timeline because I'm a little bit confused on the timeline when the Phyrexian invasion happens. I don't know if because I know that it had happened. I think it was in the Urza's saga. I think it was supposed to be in Urza's saga that the first Phyrexian invasion was supposed to happen before Mirrodin. Then it would be then Mirrodin would happen, and after Mirrodin comes New Phyrexia. All will be run. I can't. I'm not sure if I got that right, and that's what stinks. That's what stinks right now. I don't think I got the timeline order right. So I'm deciding between one of these two videos, either Urza's complete story, which means I have to go through Urza's origin again to get to the Phyrexian invasion, or cover Mirrodin from Argentum to New Phyrexia, and then just go into New Phyrexia from there. So basically, it's a tough choice. It's a tough decision because because I had already covered Urza through the Brothers War last time. I did the Magic Gathering research, which means going through the whole thing again. But after this one, but after this one, then uh, start covering Urza. Let's see here. When does that start happening? Yeah, around the 9-minute mark onward. Octopus channel with Urza's complete story would then continue on with Hunting Phyrexia onward, or go with Dice Tries Mirrodin. Not sure. Not sure how I want to approach this. Then I got the complete story of Mimikyu for Pokemon research. Gonna be it's a very short video. I'm very curious about this Pokemon that I haven't gotten into the new generation yet. I stopped after Platinum in Pokemon, so I haven't gotten familiar because I'm working my way through my Nuzlocke. I did the Brilliant Diamond Nuzlocke, and then I did Fire Red Nuzlocke. So I'm looking to jump into either Violet or Sword, one of the two. So so that's why I'm looking to jump in. And I figure it'll be nice, but do a little more Pokemon centered lore, specific lore. And then for my first research into Babylon 5, I figured I'd start with the history of the Vorlons, since they were them, and hopefully the history of the Shadows, since those are the two big ones that started the whole thing off. The events of Babylon 5. So that'll be an interesting thing to cover, and then that'll be it. So, ooh, oh, oh wow, I hurt my chest there. Mm. Oh man. Oh, that was not good. Mm. Almost killed myself here. Sorry about that. Could hello there, Lakiza Pink. Welcome on the YouTube side, and 18 Mendoy one. Welcome on the Twitch side. Welcome to the live multi stream, the monthly YouTube multi stream. Hope y'all are having a good time. Thank you. Uh, ah man, so thought I'd get you all up to date, all of you on the YouTube world, because I know that the last time I did the last YouTube multi stream was the first week of March, so that you've been all gone for about so it's been 8 weeks since I last multi streamed here. Excuse me. Ooh, man, I gotta be very careful. I could have killed myself, but yeah. So I went through a major episode, uh, and had to flip the switch on the train tracks, so to speak, for the sake of both myself and the channel. So I had to prioritize rewriting my latest novel, Trucker no Bouken, which is right now going through its I think it's its fourth rewrite, trying to get it all cleaned up, and so that way I could repost it on SYOSETSU.com, SYOSETSU.com, and then get that retranslated into Japanese. Uh, and it's been coming along good. I'm on chapter 6. So I'm almost done with chapter 6, and I'll be halfway through. The novel, it's a 12 chapter novel, and I've already passed the first 5 chapters along to a colleague of mine to hard check my grammar and such. So yeah, everything's moving good. Everything's going good. So just to help all the new people in YouTube land come to understand. Let me see if I can. Let me pull up a few things here, real quick. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Okay, so yeah, I'm basically a man on a mission right now, to get this done. But the reason why I've been posting up on SYOSETSU, and I got this one here, and I need one more. And why I chose SYOSETSU. Is this here also? No. Crap. What was the other one? Oh. Yeah. Bofuri. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So here's how it works. Okay. The some of your favorite anime series, some of your favorite anime series, got that were originally light novels got picked up, and made and not only got compiled into light novels in paperback form, but we're also successful in getting franchises like an anime franchise, right? So I'm got two samples here to show you, and we're gonna start off with Reincarnated as a Sword. So this is Reincarnated as a Sword. This is the one with, if I could zoom in, yeah, where the dude got reincarnated as a sword, and he gets this little, see here, this is the light novel, Reincarnated as a Sword. If you've seen the anime, this is where it came from, but this is where it originated from. Right here it says enko.shosetsu.com. This is where Reincarnated as a Sword came from, this website. All 97 chapters written here. Back in as far back as 2016. This is what it looks like on SYOSETSU. So that got an anime series. Then here's Bofuri. You know, I don't want to get hurt, so I'll max out my defense. It had a couple of seasons. So this wasn't this became a light novel. You can see it's here on Crunchyroll too. See, right here on Crunchyroll, this little series. Well, this originated also on SYOSETSU.com. This is it right here on SYOSETSU, entirely on SYOSETSU. All of its chapters here in Japanese. So basically, my goal is going on SYOSETSU and writing my own novels. So I have two versions. I got the English language version of Trucker no Bouken of book 1, and I did the Japanese language version in book 2. It's not pretty. These are all very, very rough drafts, which is what's great about SYOSETSU. In SYOSETSU, you can return to update at your own pace and update your story along the way at your own pace. And I've been trying to get book 1 done, rewritten, so I can repost them in English and Japanese, so that way I can have book 1 ready, compiled, and I can continue on with book 2, which is sitting in the queue right now with the first couple of chapters done. So yeah, this is all me. I've been studying Japanese for years now. Been in school for the past 5 years, working on my JLPT N5 studies. I'm still doing some more research into that because it's very not only study intensive and the test is intensive, but it's a 1-year event, and I'm hoping that it's close by the end of the year, and that I can be able to give it a shot if I can. It all depends on location and cost. It's not cheap, and it's a one shot, and it's basically a one shot, or else I'll have to wait a whole year. So to get N5 level. So during my live multi streams on Twitch and Kick, I do language studies, Japanese language studies, Mondays and Tuesdays. Study night is on Monday. Tuesday I practice speaking Japanese. Then Wednesdays and Thursdays I do my research and play games, of course. Research that you're going to see today. But I decided to focus my daily research Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays that you've been seeing, focusing on Skibidi Toilet, Mech Warrior, and Warhammer. Mech Warrior and Warhammer. I threw myself off there. Mech Warrior, Warhammer. I was gonna say Mech Warrior Hammer, but just so like I said, I'm just trying to catch you all up on what's going on here. So my daily uploads here on the writing channel is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and that'll be focused on BattleTech, Mech Warrior, Warhammer, and Skibidi Toilet. Just to remind you all, Skibidi Toilet 78 will be up next week. I have a 7-day waiting period. I like to give people a chance, give the original creators a chance. So don't worry, I did the video, but it'll be next week that that'll get posted up. Because I want the creators. And same for the Gaslight District. I did that too. That'll be next week. So hope you're all excited for that. Thursdays are the days that I'll throw in, something like the Gaslight District. Saying anything that gets extra. So that's basically the state. But pretty much that's the situation is for those of you, because I'm always trying to remind people, because I'm always getting new people, and I'm always getting new people more and more along the way. Thank you, Lazica Pink. So yeah, that's basically the why I haven't done the anime videos yet, which I have been doing. Just so y'all know, I completed Magie Lumiere. Fighting my way through secret level. It's been very hard to deal with. You so skibbity. I'm on. I started at Gundam G Guax. I've already got through episode 2, and I'm continuing my City Hunter. So right now, because the anime, especially considering that I got hit so hard by freaking Netflix, because the anime is very difficult to edit. It takes up a lot of time. I have to archive it for now, because the top priority is getting this book done. I've already got my card game Savage Strikers completed. It's done in English and Japanese. I'm looking for a publisher as we speak. That's the extent I can speak of on the card game side. So now it's the writing side, that the book side, that I got to get done in English and Japanese, and then I'll have 2 whole new products, 2 whole new franchises to try and accomplish, basically. So don't worry. Once I get right now, this is 100% high priority, because I have to get this through. So that's why the lore videos, they're easy to edit. If you've seen the lore videos, they're very easy to edit. I hope you. Oh, of course, I will remember you. This is why I always write down here under YouTube and Lucky's Pink. Trust me, that that day's gonna end up coming. There's gonna be a day that's gonna come when I can no longer continue on with the channel. If I hit a certain area, I want to make sure I can remember everybody in the early stages, because I'm not gonna remember everybody. Try to remember as many as I can. Although I doubt I'm going to be able to list out 1 million people. I doubt I'm going to remember 1 million people, but I do want to remember everyone who came early, came in these early days, because it was thanks to you, you guys, that helped me really overcome so much stuff. From the mental side to this side here, there's so much things to go around. You have no idea. But overall, because I don't want to hold up too long, but I just want to make sure that anybody new coming in understands the mission here. And mission is to get my IPs, like The Impossible Man, which is available on Barnes & Noble and Amazon.com. IPs like Splatterbomb, which I have merch available, along with Arcana Magi, and then upcoming merch and other merch I'm working on, like Trucker no Bouken and Savage Strikers. They're there for you guys. You know what I'm saying? I'm creating these for you guys because you're the fans, and you fans love to do fun things with franchises, from lore videos to wikis, TV tropes. I'm trying to bring you all the some more fun stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to throw my hat in the ring and bring you guys some fun stuff. That's why I always keep saying, that if you get yourself a copy of The Impossible Man, buy that book, and go and do a lore video out of it. Do a character video. Do those cool videos. You know what I'm saying? Like what we're gonna see here, these lore videos. Do it. You know what I'm saying? Grab it. Do it. You know, once I get the Savage Strikers and Trucker No Bouken done, you know, grab them, do lore videos. You know, that's why and you can even do channel the channel itself if you've you know, if you've been paying attention. I've been writing you know, I've been posting up videos that say Coqui-san lore, channel lore, story lore. Yes, do lore of the channel. That's the whole thing. Or if you want to be very bold, and I dare y'all, go over to my gaming channel, look up Splatterbomb Lounge. I got 100 episodes done. It's a complete story, 100 episodes. Watch it. Do a lore video of that. That's what I'm trying to bring to the table here, because you know, I watch everybody on YouTube do all these amazing lore videos and research videos and character studies, and it's just amazing, you know, how much the fandom, you know, gets deep into the nitty gritty, and it's such a wonderful discovery. It's been very helpful to me because, you know, there's things in writing I'd never even considered, and you know, you could read all the Dunes and all the Once and Future Kings and all the Isaac Asimovs and H.G. Wells you want. You know what I'm saying? You're not getting all of it in there. Getting other people's perspectives and thoughts, or what people were able to compile and discover. You know what I'm saying? You start to understand writing, storytelling, world building, and so on. You know, and it's such a plethora and wealth of information, you know, that it really helps out. You know, I know it seemed very weird. As unique as Eddie Murphy's laugh, that'd be cool. Yes, I'm always a happy guy. Because, you know, I'm always happy. If you're wondering why I laugh a lot, is because I'm doing one of the most funnest things you could ever imagine. You know what I'm saying? I get to play video games. I get to watch anime. I get to read manga. You know, you know, saying this camera has been, you know, this whole YouTube, Twitch, Kick thing, has been helpful because I had spent a very long period, a good chunk of years doing nothing but writing and game design, and hardly ever tapped into my video games. I was like shocked when I was like, wait, when did I last play a video game? And my brain couldn't process that, and then I was realizing, oh man, I'm letting all this stuff get accumulated, all these things accumulate, and I'm doing nothing with it. And of course, global events happen. You know, and you know, in 2020, we all know what those events are. And I had to act fast because business-wise, I was being blocked out by the world's decision, you know, universal decision. And that's why I ended up doing this whole thing, which I never thought in a million years. The most distinctive laugh on this channel is fire. Nice, thank you. So, so yeah, you know, trying to get people to know who I am and understand. It's kind of I would say it's kind of I don't want to say it's tedious because I'm always happy to try and explain to everybody, but it's kind of like I try to be careful not to make it sound like I'm being narcissistic or anything. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people could misperceive that, but they don't understand that the reason why I have to keep repeating is because I need people to understand why the writing channel exists, Coqui-san Writing exists, and what the goal is. And this is the goal right here, right now. This is the current goal. Trucker no Bouken, my newest novel, 12 chapters. This is the rough draft you're seeing here on SYOSETSU, and I'm doing the rewrite right now. And I got to rewrite it in also Japanese, which is not easy. I could tell you that much. That kanji is such a killer. Oh boy, is it such a killer! It's a killer. You know, it's such a killer to write. I'm trying to deal with that kanji, So, and I can't even rewrite Japanese yet until I make sure that my whole entire English grammar is finalized and 100% good. So that way, when I start reposting on SYOSETSU, I got something solid. So, but yeah, the rewrite has been very much fun. But I've also realized, holy mackerel, I've been writing a lot. I've been rewriting a lot. I kind of clocked in. Let's see, as of chapter 6, I clocked in at page 85. 85 pages is done. Let's see here. I'll get that number up in 2 shakes of a land sale. Let's see if Microsoft were to cooperate. And I've been doing rewrites also live. 81 pages in. I'm 80 pages in. I'm not even including the title. I'll just drop it in for you guys here on YouTube. Just in case we get those naysayers. There's always those naysayers. Be like, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Yeah, here's here's page 81. Of Trucker No Bouken. And let's zoom in. Let's scroll. Look at that. This is everything I've written so far. There we go. All the way up to my title page. There we go. I'll do it again. I'm just doing a little fast because I don't want to, because YouTube, unlike Twitch VODs tend to erase, but YouTube doesn't erase. So I don't want to spoil too much or give too many easy outs. But there you go. That was the rewrite in a nutshell. That's the. Oh, I don't even have it on the screen. What? I don't even have it on the screen. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Let me see here. Is it really not on the screen? Hold on. Oh, okay, it is on the screen. I'm just. But Zika's like, hell nah. Oh no. I'm looking at the previewer, the YouTube previewer. It's so slow. I'm like, wait, it's not up there. No, I need to fast forward the previewer, that DVR previewer. So, yeah, there you go. 81 pages. Well, 80 pages. This is just a cover page. Filling in page 1, but 80 pages in chapters. I'm on chapter 6. I had a bit of a snafu with chapter 6, of course, because I kind of realized that I didn't have a villain. I wrote book 1 with only antagonists, but I don't have a clearly defined villain. So now, starting from chapter 6 onwards, I gotta insert this villain in a variety of ways, so that way I can be able to get that nice conflict. And not only that, but I even forgot to establish the villain of the whole entire series, because this is a multi-book series. So I'm like, oh my god, what the heck am I doing? How could I miss this? So, but if you are interested in reading the rough drafts, these rough drafts, English and Japanese, feel free to do so on SYOSETSU. The links are in the description below. Just remember that these are very rough drafts, and the current draft is not going to be the same once I start posting it up. So yeah, this is a good shot, good chance to, if you're the type that want to see growth, this is a good chance to do so. To see how I grow from a rough draft writing to a final draft, and just to circle back around to why I mentioned Bofuri and reincarnate as a sword, because the reason I'm on SYOSETSU is because of the fact that these stories on SYOSETSU, reincarnate as a sword, Bofuri, and so on, including if I remember correctly, Mushoku Tensei, reincarnate as a slime, many more, have all gotten picked up by a publisher, to have light novels released, and eventually they ended up becoming franchises, and of course anime. They would get an anime series and so on. So yeah, that's why I've been studying Japanese and writing in Japanese and trying to get my products translated into Japanese, because that's the goal. That's the goal, is to break in. Uh, you know. So just put this. I guess you could put this in perspective here. There's a lot of us that want to break into Japan. There's a lot of us that do want to break into Japan. But it's just that nobody really knows how to go about it. And the best way I can tell all of you, if you want my advice, study Japanese. Study and learn to read, write, and speak Japanese. That's all I could say. Is speak, read, and write Japanese, and create something that you can translate into Japanese. And just learn how to communicate with Japanese companies and such. But let me see. Let me just make sure. Okay, maybe this is a bit of a spoiler. So, in one of the scenes in episode 78 of Skibidi Toilet, there will be a scene that would be a bit sus if it was extended. I'll have to look back at that and see. I'll have to check that out, Lakiza. Yeah. Don't worry. Once y'all see my take, you'll you'll like it. So, that's what's been happening the past 8 weeks. So that's what's been happening the past 8 weeks. It's been a very trippy ride, but again, as always, I get a lot of new people, and yes, big thanks to everybody who has subscribed for the past 8 weeks. Since the last live stream. Welcome to the channel. This is precisely what's going on here on the writing channel. For those of you who came in for the past 8 weeks and wondering what the heck kind of channel this is a writing channel. It's a research channel for writing, storytelling, world building, and it's to help me learn, and hopefully, I could be able to extend that learning with to all of you. We all learn together. Those of us interested in world building and writing, and yeah, this is the stated goals here that this channel is supposed to do. It's supposed to help me learn how to help me expand my skills in writing, world building, lore making, and so on. Maps, maps. So. And because for the past 8 weeks I got so many new subscribers, all of you new subscribers, if you're watching this live stream, you now have an idea of exactly what the writing channel is about. So you are in on the journey. You came here because you were curious, and I'm inviting you into the journey, just like I invited everyone on Twitch and Kick on the journey. On the journey, you are also invited on this journey. If this really is your jam, this is your interest, or if you're the type that's like, we could wait till you put out the final product, that's perfectly fine. But that's why if you're wondering why I'm doing so many different franchises instead of focusing on one. And I just want to make sure that this is extremely clear, because I know that Skibidi Toilet is the big one in this channel, but this is not a Skibidi Toilet content farming channel, because I know there's a lot of content farming channels out there that focuses on one specific topic. You know, you got the Pokemon channel, you know, who's one person who focuses entirely on Roblox, one who focuses entirely on Minecraft, and that's all they cover is just that. And I just want to make sure that's very clear to all of you Skibidi Toilet fans out there, that this is not a Skibidi Toilet content farming channel. This is a research channel. I'm researching as many different stories as possible across many different franchises, Warhammer, BattleTech, Pokemon, and today my newest research, Babylon 5. My new research topic is Babylon 5. So Sigma male. Thank you, Lakiza. So yeah, I need to absorb as much different stories as possible, as many different stories as possible. I cannot just focus on one thing. It doesn't help me if I focus on one story exclusively. It doesn't help with my research. It doesn't help me grow as a writer, because that's the key thing. I want to be a good writer. I don't want to be the greatest writer. That I'll let history decide if I'm the greatest writer. I just want to be good right now for all of you. You know what I'm saying? And put a smile on your faces. You're all entertained. You know, and then you all start doing crazy things like making wikis and lore videos and so on. Make lore videos and so on. I mean, just look at Skibidi Toilet. Grasimov. You know, people made many, not just only van videos, but lore videos. Many people did lore videos and analysis of Skibidi Toilet. You know, that's you know, I don't think that's a difficult goal to try to achieve, but you know, I need people to pick up The Impossible Man, my novel. I need people to go and see Splatterbomb Lounge, you know. So, but I can't force everybody, you know, because again, I don't have a gun to your head, not yet anyway. So the best I could do is just continue on with my research, give you all my assessment, and just bring you along for the ride as time goes on. And thanks to you guys, I'm just a little under 40 away from the big 500 in terms of subscribers. So big thanks to all of you. You know, hands down, thanks to every single one of you subscribing and bringing me closer to the big 500. It's gonna be a long time before I could ever hit the big 1,000. Hopefully the big 100,000. But as they say, it's a whole grind. All right. I still don't know what I want to go with. If I should do Urza's complete story before going into Mirrodin, I guess that's the right order I'll have to go. It's just that I don't want to revisit the Brothers War because I already did the Brothers War, and that's including the whole thing. But he's such an integral part with the Phyrexians. I think I'm gonna do Urza's complete story. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do Urza's complete story and save Mirrodin for afterwards, because Mirrodin's supposed to be after Urza. You know, when Urza, if I remember correctly, from what I've seen in the cards. For playing the game, Urza created Karn, so that should be after. The whole Mirrodin thing is after. Let's see, if I remember the sets correctly, we had the Urza cycle, which was Urza's Legacy, Urza's Saga, Time Spiral happened, then it was Mirrodin. Then the whole Mirrodin block began after that. Or was Time Spiral before, after Mirrodin block? I can't remember. So I'll take my chances and just go ahead and revisit Urza. So, all right. Welcome to the channel, every one of you, every subscriber, everybody, and thank you for your support. All right. So, Urza's Complete Story, Planeswalker Lore Anthology, Episode 6, by Octopus Channel. Make sure to check out the Octopus Channel. The link will be in the description below. we're gonna find out exactly what Urza did with the Phyrexians. We gotta power through a recap of the Brothers' War that I had covered before, but after that, for the rest of the way, it should be all about Urza and the Phyrexians. So let us begin the research. I gotta say before I begin how glad I am that I'm not wearing those gigantic headphones anymore. They broke on me, and so I went with the little ones. But let me tell you something. I look real goofy wearing the big giant headphones on the thing. I looked so goofy. I like these because it hides. It's very small. It hides, blends in with my black shirt. You don't have to see me looking goofy with the thing. I don't look like one of those teleoperators or like a fighter pilot, like I'm flying a helicopter.
Urza, the High Artificer. There's perhaps no character that's more iconic and representative of Magic the Gathering's earliest stories and sets release than this guy. Protagonist of the Artifact cycle, comprising of a total of 4 books published between 1998 and 1999, Urza was one of, if not the most, brilliant and greatest artificer that the world
I got
of
that card.
Dominaria has ever known, as well as a very powerful wizard. This is a story of death and a story of vengeance. It is the story of 2 siblings who found themselves on opposite sides of the same battlefield and fought each other to the death. It is a story of obsession, envy, resentment, and pain.
And getting stoned.
More importantly than anything else, though, this is the story of 2 brothers who tried their best to escape their fate, but were inevitably drawn to it. It is a story that over the years has reshaped the world of magic and everything within it. Today, on Walkers 101, we deal with the blue-centered planeswalker Urza and his adventures in Magic's multiverse.
The early life.
Now, although this video is technically about Urza, the High Theresian Artificer, founder of the Thalarian Academy on Dominaria and creator of the Silver Golem Karn, we cannot really talk about this splendid character without spending at least a few words on his younger brother, Mishra.
Fair enough.
Right off the bat, it seems to be more than just brotherhood linking the 2 brothers. Urza and Mishra were born on the first and last day of the same year respectively, to a noble and well-off family of Argive, which was one of the 3 coastal kingdoms of Theresiare on Dominaria. Such is their importance in Magic's history that the year in which they were born was marked as the year 0 of the Argivian calendar by later historians, and even today it is still used on Dominaria to talk about events predating the actual brothers' existence retrospectively. The mother of the 2 brothers died while they were still very young, and when their father fell victim of an incurable disease in 10 AR, the 2 brothers were sent to an old archaeologist friend of his father's named Tokasia to serve as students at their archaeological dig. Under Tokasia's guidance, the 2 brothers acquired a great deal of knowledge about the manufacturing of artifacts from the archaeological excavations of the ancient ruins of the Thrun Empire, who had ruled over Theresiare thousands of years prior to their existence. While Urza developed a talent for detached study, Mishra actually always preferred a hands-on approach, participating in the diggings to uncover new artifacts on a daily basis.
Yep.
Over the several years that the 2 brothers spent at Tokasia's camp, Urza and Mishra made both several groundbreaking discoveries and inventions. While perhaps the most obvious and renowned of these was the celebrated Ornithopter, the most important turned out to be the discovery of the Caves of Koilos.
I got the Caves of Koilos. I'm gonna be
These caves
pointing so many cards I
filled
got.
with a lot of precious lost Thrun artifacts, but more importantly, they also conceived a long-forgotten gateway to the dark and twisted world of Phyrexia. The
made by
gateway had been
Yawgmoth.
used by the Phyrexian demon Gix, Yawgmoth's second-in-command, during the first Phyrexian invasion of Dominaria thousands of years ago. On their first visit to the heart of the cave, the two brothers uncovered the power stone that magically sealed the portal to Phyrexia. In haste to secure the ancient relic before the other brother, they both reached for the stone simultaneously, and the disturbance resulting from this caused the stone to break into two oppositely charged fragments.
It's amazing how they were able to link the cards to the story.
Kept their own fragment of the stone, which became known as the Might Stone and the Weak Stone respectively.
You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of Inuyasha, Tenseiga and Tetsaiga. One that was designed, one sword designed to take life, the other sword that's designed to give life. It's pretty it's pretty cool when you come up with a concept like that in storytelling, where one can be all about the power and the other is all about all about life itself. But although in this case with magic, it's about power and weakness, whereas in Inuyasha the swords were about life and death, were symbols of life and death. But the fact that that they create that that duality of the between each other is actually pretty impressive when executed very well. And the Might Stone and the Meek Stone definitely was very fascinating because of how it felt, how each of how the two brothers used their respective stones and put into use. So yeah, when using two items like that, you got to make sure you're very clear when you're using MacGuffins like that. Like the Triforce, you have the Triforce of Wisdom, Triforce of Power, Triforce of Courage. You got to make sure it's very clear how they're supposed to work. Another good example are the rings from Lord of the Rings. We know what the one ring does, what the 9 rings, and so on. So always make sure when you're creating those MacGuffins that they it's very clear what they do. Don't just turn them into chase MacGuffins where everybody's trying to chase it. Like say the Holy Grail. Don't make them a Holy Grail. There we go. Don't make your MacGuffins a Holy Grail. You can only do so much. It's just gonna be another chase thing, and it'll be boring. You could devolve into boredom if you can't if your characters don't line up in terms of their ambitions, or be creative with the ambitions, because it's always going to be the same type of ambition, cliche ambition, the money or the power. It's got to be a little bit more than that. So yeah, watch out with your MacGuffins is what I'm saying.
Eventually, however, a mutual and irresistible drive for the respective brothers' half led to an inevitable falling out and duel between the two brothers, which resulted in nothing but the accidental death of Tokeisha herself.
Yeah.
The inadvertent death of their mentor was the final straw that marked the final break in the relationship between the two brothers. The research camp soon fell apart and the two brothers got separated. Urza moved to Yoshia, the southernmost of the coastal kingdoms of Teresiare, and put his skills with machinery to work as a clockmaker's apprentice. Shortly after this, a public contest was announced by the ruler of Yoshia. Any man who would have managed to find a way to move a massively giant jade statue across the palace courtyard would have won the prince's hand in marriage.
Ah, right, yes.
To be fair, Urza couldn't care less about wedding the young girl, but he nonetheless participated in the contest.
And he won.
His goal was to put his hands on an ancient throne tome that was held in the girl's dowry. Aided by his previous experience with artifacts and machinery, the young artificer built a gigantic machine that allowed him to easily move the statue across the courtyard as it had been requested. After this success, Urza was married to Caleb bin Krug and, more importantly, gained access to the ancient relic that he so desperately wanted to study. In the meantime, and also thanks to new findings offered by the book, Urza gained a new position within the city ranks and was named Chief Artificer of Yoshia. This never distracted him from his studies though. as he obsessively continued on his attempts
March
to
of
make his
Progress.
creations ever more efficient and advanced.
The Brothers' War. What a tragedy that
For
was.
reasons of space and time, I will not go into too much detail of the conflict. However, if you wish to have a more in-depth look at this mythical standoff between the two brothers, I have an entire video completely dedicated to it, so go check it out. You can find it in the top right corner of your screen or in the description below this video.
Do it. Do it.
As the year passed and Urza kept at inadvertently acquiring the reins of state power in Yoshia, Mishra was carrying out the exact same task with the peoples of the Falaji Desert, increasingly becoming a closer and closer advisor to the Falaji supreme ruler over several years. A series of betrayals, double crossings and sneak attacks quickly commenced to erupt between the two brothers and their respective kingdoms, soon reaching their apex in an open war between the two factions. The Brothers' War had begun.
What a card. That's amazing artwork.
An increasingly elaborate set of machines developed by the two artificers began to fight each other on either side, and the whole conflict soon spiraled out of control. The war went on for decades and caused immeasurable damage to the lands in which it was fought, as well as to the two factions. Until one fateful day, in Argoth, the two brothers met face to face on the battlefield, each at the head of their respective armies. In that occasion, Urza found out that Mishra had been corrupted by the twisted and dark influence of Phyrexia and had slowly begun to turn his own human body into a living machine.
Gruesome realization. That is very gruesome.
The rage and anger felt by Urza in that moment made him lose control of himself, and he responded to the sickening vision of his younger brother by wielding the uncontrollable power of the Golgothian Silex. The Silex was an ancient artifact of uncertain origins, which, if used correctly, had the power to wipe out entire worlds in a single instant.
That little
Silex
cup.
blast is to this day one of the most traumatic events that Dominarian history has ever witnessed. The energy coursing from it slaughtered both armies almost instantaneously. It blasted the landscape for miles, sank the entire subcontinent of Argoth, and altered the climate balance of the plane for centuries, essentially sending the world into an ice age that lasted for thousands of years.
I believe that's where the Ice Age set comes from.
The blast also fractured the very fabric of the multiverse, creating an envelope of 12 worlds, including Dominaria, who were completely detached and unreachable from the outside. This was known as the Shard of the 12 Worlds. Finally, the apocalyptic explosion of the Silex also caused the ignition of Urza Planeswalker's spark. His eyes were replaced by the Might Stone and Weak Stone, the two halves of the Power Stone
That's awesome.
the brothers had found in Koilos, and his anger grew even stronger. After having bid farewell to his good friend Tues, then Urza planeswalked away from Dominaria just prior to the formation of the Shard, resolved to avenge his brother and hunt down Phyrexia once and for all.
Here we go.
In doing so, however, Urza accidentally locked himself out of Dominaria and the other enveloped worlds for roughly 2,000 years.
Oh. Okay, that explains how he jumped all the way up into the future. I was wondering about that in the game.
In the centuries to come, Urza became obsessed with the destruction of those whom he blamed for his brother's sickening transformation. Having realized that Mishra had been tricked into embracing Phyrexian corruption, Urza was filled with even more grief and thirst for vengeance. So he decided to embark on a lifelong hunt for retribution against Phyrexia and its demonic Dark Lord, Yawgmoth. On one of his travels, Urza met a Phyrexian newt named Xancha. Being a newt constituted the first stage of any Phyrexian's new life.
Wow, look at that art. That's gruesome.
Newts were creatures grown in vats of glistening oil who appeared as androgynous, hairless humans.
Ew.
They were grown to adulthood and then underwent a process called completion. At this point, they were differentiated into various Phyrexian forms to serve any purpose for their Dark Lord. Xancha, however, was different. Although she'd been designed to live undetected amongst humans as a Phyrexian sleeper agent, she had resisted her fate and developed instead a close relationship with Urza after their meeting.
Mm.
Sometime after their encounter, and also thanks to some of the insights that Sancha shared with the Artificer, Urza created a mighty and monstrous dragon machine to strike the world of Phyrexia. He managed to blast a gigantic hole in the plane all the way down to the fourth of the 9 concentric spheres that constituted the Dark World, but then Yawgmoth himself intervened.
Yo, that's actually epic. So that's how they drew Yawgmoth. Whoa. Protection from humans, pay 1 life, sacrifice another creature, put a -1/-1 counter on up to 1 target creature and draw a card. 2 black, discard a card, proliferate. This is the first time I'm actually seeing Yawgmoth, especially in card form. I don't know if that's actually the official card. It doesn't look like it's the official card. It says customized magic. But still, if that's the artwork of Yawgmoth, that's actually epic. Like that's some Cthulhu levels appearance going on there, I gotta say. Although I'm still not sure why Urza would even send out a robot dragon in a world that turns things into robots and people and life into robots. And as always, they always do the 9 levels of hell. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it seems like an easy go-to trope. I've seen that with Fizzy Pop's Hell of a Boss and Has Been Hotel, and then there was then there was one depicted in now it escapes me. The Gaslight District. Gaslight District also depicted that in my recent research. I'm not sure why it's such a go-to thing. I guess maybe because it's all laid out and easy. Honestly, if I was gonna go with a hell in fiction, I wouldn't do the Earth hell. I'd probably create like the world's own hell, like its own unique hell. I believe Warhammer did the same thing too. Hell's got 9 levels as well. I know it's so easy, but that's the thing. It's just too easy. I like a good challenge with world building. I would definitely, depict a hell that's that it's fantastical and unique unto itself, and not be someone like an Earth hell, as depicted in Dante's and the Bible. I would definitely go that route. But that's me.
The Phyrexian Lord invaded Urza's mind and made him lose control of himself, pushing him towards madness. Defeated, Urza was forced to flee to avoid mental annihilation. He ran off, wandering from plane to plane, the Phyrexians constantly on his heels, for the proud Yawgmoth could not let someone who had planned to destroy his precious Phyrexia go unpunished. After decades of roaming, Urza eventually planeswalked to Serra's realm and was healed by the human planeswalker.
Serra the Benevolent.
Right after his departure, however, the Phyrexian forces who had been following his trail invaded the realm and corrupted it. At the same time, and directly aided by Joda the Archmage, the Elven planeswalker Freyalize, who was desperately trying to break free from the Shard, cast the Whirl spell and shattered the Shard, opening Dominaria to Yawgmoth once again. The Dark Lord then, seeing in him a valuable asset once more, released his second-in-command Gix from his eternal prison. Why was in eternal prison, you might ask? Well, let's just say that Yawgmoth does not take failures lightly.
True.
Gix
He did fail
to unending torment for having failed in his task to secure Mishra's victory in the Brothers' War. However, the demon from Phyrexia knew more about fighting Urza and infiltrating Dominaria than anyone else, and now he had a chance to redeem himself. While Gix was initially successful in his quest, Urza, informed by Sancha, soon returned to his own plane as well. The Theresian Artificer first destroyed all sleeper agents and then killed Gix in a final battle which broke out in the ancient caves. Unfortunately, Zancha didn't survive the battle, but her sacrifice was essential to Gix's defeat, which also allowed Urza to briefly tap into the forgotten ancestry that the Phyrexians share with the Thran. Now, although Urza had managed to finally free himself from the guilt that had tore him after Mishra's death, his profound interest in the past was far from over. As the recent events had just shown, the Phyrexian threat was now more dangerous than ever before. So, the old artificer decided to plan ahead and founded the most important and recognized school of magic and technology on the island of Tolaria, the Tolarian Academy. From all around the world, Urza summoned the most talented and brilliant artificers, sorcerers, mathematicians, and biologists to study at his prestigious school. Some you might have heard of are Barin, the Fairy, and Rain.
I miss the
Using
old
the
artwork.
information he had gathered from Gix during their encounter and the groundbreaking technology developed by his students, Urza began the creation of a time machine that allowed him to gaze into Dominarian ancient past and see the great Thran Phyrexian war that had led to the initial Phyrexian exile from the plane.
Is this how Teferi goes back in time?
Then, by transplanting Zancha's art stone into a silver golem that he had previously constructed, Urza created Karn.
Ah, okay.
Now, Karn was not simply a walking and thinking silver construct because he could theoretically enter time rifts created by his temporal disruptor and actually time travel. In the meantime, in the wake of his latest setbacks, Yawgmoth set about devising a different, new plan. Instead of infiltrating the world of Dominaria, he would prepare for a full-scale invasion of it. To this end, the Dark Lord of Phyrexia started to amass a great army and created the artificial plane
look at
of
that.
Wrath, which he planned to fill with troops and then merge onto Dominaria, therefore allowing all of his forces to invade the plane instantaneously.
I came in, I started magic in the Rat Cycle,
Even as he
Weatherlight.
set his new plans into motion, Yawgmoth never ceased sending troops after Urza, whom he believed constituted the single biggest threat to his plans of conquest. One of the most successful ones was Kirk, a sleeper agent who managed to track down Urza's academy on Dominaria, where mages were being trained and artifacts were being built to fight off Phyrexia. Kirk succeeded in destroying the place, but Urza sent the Silver Golem Karn back in time to prevent it. The golem was successful, but the time machine overheated in the process and the academy was sadly destroyed nonetheless.
Dang.
On top of that, when Urza returned 10 years later, he found that the time streams of the island had been twisted by the incident. In some places, 10,000 years happened in mere seconds, while in others, it was the other way around.
Wow. That time dilation is
Inside the
nasty.
fast time bubble, Kirk had ages to prepare for an attack on Urza, but the Planeswalker eventually managed to defeat him with the help of the Yavimaya nature spirit Multani. After that, Urza was torn by guilt for having been indirectly responsible of the destruction of the academy. Eventually, however, he decided to rebuild the place, reasoning that the temporal rifts throughout Tolaria could actually be used to his advantage. The Planeswalker designed special work suits that allowed Tolarian researchers to finish up centuries of work in just a couple minutes by exploiting the time acceleration of fast time bubbles. Following the same principle, potions brewed in slow time bubbles could easily extend a promising student's lifespan for decades. For the first time since his quest to take down Phyrexia had started, Urza felt like he had found a viable way to make up for the multi-millennial head start that the Phyrexian had enjoyed up to that moment.
So I'm a little confused at this point. I thought Urza was a bad guy along with Mishra. It seems more like he's a good guy who just screws up along the way. Like he thinks he's got the problem solved, but then all of a sudden he ends up breaking more than he fixes. It's like every time he tries to fix something, he breaks it, and now he breaks time all of a sudden. You know, he's like breaking time. First first he broke his brother, then all of a sudden he breaks dimensions. Now he's breaking time. It's like he's breaking everything. I'm wondering if storytelling wise, it's not so much that he's inherently evil, but that he's the ends justify the means type of evil. You know what I mean? Like, in his eyes, he's doing the right thing. He's trying to save all of life, but he's going about it in a very reckless and dangerous manner. With zero regards to what his immediate surroundings, because it's being shown explained that he's showing remorse for what he does, and usually villains don't show that kind of remorse, unless of course you're Thanos, and unless he's pulling a Thanos here, considering that he's got the Meek Stone Power Stone in him, like an Infinity Gauntlet. If by chance, he's just operating. He's operating on that logic. The ends justify the means. As long as I could destroy the Phyrexians, it doesn't matter how many people die along the way, because billions will be saved from Phyrexia's terror. So it looks like we're going into Gerard now. This is the Weatherlight crew. I see. It looks like I see SYOSETSU. At least that's what I'm assuming. But that definitely looks like Gerard and the Weatherlight. Urza's legacy, huh?
After the battle for Teleria was over, Urza began to work on what he called the Salvation of Dominaria. It was a flying ship capable of traveling at supersonic velocity as well as of plane shifting between worlds. Armed with the best weaponry ever conceived and piloted by the best warriors, this ship would constitute the strongest single asset amongst Urza's resources. Built with the frame of the nearly indestructible Thran metal fused with the weather seed from the heart of Yavimaya, Urza gave birth to his new, formidable invention, the skyship Weatherlight. Problems quickly arose, however, on how to power the ship's mana battery, as the energy required to fully charge its Power Stone core was equal to that of an entire plane.
Wow.
With much regret, Urza decided to sacrifice another world to save his own. He eventually chose to exploit the energy from the collapsing Phyrexian overrun Serra's realm and managed to trap the planar energy of the world just before it was erased from existence.
So yeah, ends justify the means.
Though. And to complement his latest invention, he soon after started working on another project, the Bloodline Project.
Oh?
The Bloodline Project was a grand plan of genetic engineering set up by Urza to create the perfect warrior breed to fight off the Phyrexian invasion. The project mobilized the full resources of the Tolarian Academy for decades and resulted in the engineering of the artificially created magical race of the Metathran soldiers, as well as the birth of a group of individuals whose lineages had been manipulated to ensure that they would be the very best of what humanity had to offer. These individuals had been solely conceived as soldiers, engineered warriors with no will of their own, eerily similar to the Phyrexians that they had been designed to fight.
He's become his own worst enemies.
Discovering this, Yawgmoth did his best to increase the raids on Dominaria, tracking down the Bloodline Project results and killing them. Despite Yawgmoth's efforts, some Bloodline children managed to escape the attacks, such as Gerard, the true heir to Urza's legacy.
Oh!
A collection of artifacts made for the sole purpose of destroying Yawgmoth.
Wow, that I did not know.
At times, the attacks became so frequent that they started to play a role in local myths. Stories about the Lord of the Wastes, a machine lord who waged eternal war on Dominaria, started to spread throughout continents, from Benalia to Yamura.
Invasion. This is where we get the invasion block, huh?
After many centuries of preparation, Yawgmoth finally launched his full-scale invasion of
I got that card.
in
Playing the Portal.
4205 AR. Throughout most of the invasion, Yawgmoth remained within the depths of Phyrexia, while his minions Krovax and Sabo Tavok commanded the Phyrexian armies in battle.
I got Krovax.
Tavok's plagues and shock troops devastated numerous Dominarian nations.
Ooh, look at that art on
Krovax
the Slayer.
oversaw the overlay of the Plane of Wrath onto Dominaria, bringing millions of additional Phyrexian soldiers and monstrosities to assault the already besieged world.
Damn. They got
Yet,
overrun.
even as Phyrexia exhausted Dominaria's nations, the defenders managed to endure for months, delaying Phyrexia's victory. In the face of this continued resistance, Yawgmoth grew convinced that his ultimate foe was not Urza, but rather the living spirit of his former lover and scourge, Rebecca herself, whom he believed had somehow survived the destruction of the throne and ascended to become the Dominarian World Soul, Gaia.
Oh, that explains the Gaia cards.
As Dominaria struggled, Yawgmoth sensed Rebecca resisting him even still, ever more determined to shut him out of Dominaria for all eternity. Phyrexia as well received its own fair share of devastation when Urza assembled the collection of planeswalkers that he called the Nine Titans, arming them with massive suits of power armor known as Titan Engines, and planning a counterattack on the Nine Hells of Phyrexia.
9 Titans, 1 for each hell,
Once
huh?
inside the hellish plane, the planeswalkers unleashed havoc, hoping to destroy its core. However, they were soon interrupted by the betrayal of Tevesh Zat, who ended up killing his fellow planeswalker, Daria. Expecting that something like this could happen, Urza had implanted a device in each of the suits, a sort of mystical kill switch which he could tap into at any time, resulting in the death of his occupant. Upon the expected treachery of Tevesh Zat, Urza activated the switch and killed him, sealing his essence within a soul bomb, which was a powerful weapon that exploited the power of a soul trapped inside to cause massive destruction.
Really? Spirit Bomb? We went full Dragon Ball Z here? Look at, man, they got Goku holding up the Spirit Bomb. Oh gosh, Deviant Art? Yeah, that makes sense. It says it right there on the bottom, Deviant Art. Somebody made a Deviant Art of Spirit Bomb. either this is a real card or you know what? Let me note that. I gotta see if that legitimately exists. That's hilarious. I've been noticing that some of the cards are seem to be fan made, and the fact that they got this one here, Spirit Bomb. Please tell me that's a real card in Magic. I would like to get that. Your creatures can help cast this spell. Each creature you tap while casting the spell pays for 1 colorless or 1 mana of that creature's color. Spirit Bomb deals X damage to any target. Yeah, that definitely sounds like a Spirit Bomb.
This powerful weapon was supposed to be used to destroy Phyrexia, but before he could do that, Urza was driven by angel-like Phyrexian creatures to kill another one of his companions, Taysir, using the same kill switch that he had triggered on Zats. After this, Urza was taken to the 7th sphere to observe what was apparently his enslaved brother Mishra, who had been tortured for thousands of years in that hellish place.
Whoa.
Next, also influenced by the mounting psychotic effect of the glistening oil, Urza reached all the way down to the 9th sphere, alongside Gerard, to surrender and to worship Yawgmoth himself. In a sick turn of events, the pair was forced by the Dark Lord to fight each other to the death in the Phyrexian arena.
I got both cards.
Yawgmoth, who in Phyrexia could wield the power of a god, stripped Urza of his planeswalker's powers, leaving him a weak old man. Okay, so what's going on here exactly? I mean, why did Urza and his beloved bloodline child Gerard decide to change sides and suddenly worship Yawgmoth? To fully understand this, we need to take a little step back.
Okay.
Gerard had chosen to ally with the Lord of the Wastes in the hope that the Dark God could return his lost, slain love, Anna, back to him, while Urza had somehow slowly become affectionate of his foes, admiring the power and knowledge that they had managed to achieve through artificiality. On top of that, Yawgmoth had promised unfathomable knowledge to him had he bested Gerard. The fight between the two lasted for quite some time, until at one point, Gerard managed to land a deadly strike that beheaded Urza in an instant.
Whoa!
Thus, Urza was defeated, and Gerard was crowned Yagmoth's new champion.
He chose the dark side. Atonement. Well, that's creepy.
It was in this moment, in the last hours of the conflict, that Yagmoth himself returned to Dominaria for the first time in 9,000 years. He did so in the form of a black, world-spanning death cloud that killed Dominaria's defenders and resurrected them to fight for Phyrexia. Immediately, the Dark Lord's plan was clear to everyone. Yagmoth himself was to be the final stage of the invasion. In the meantime, a disillusioned Gerard had terribly regretted his actions and had resolved to change sides again, betraying Yagmoth and escaping the stronghold, carrying alongside with him Urza's severed head. Then, as Gerard was heading back to the transformed Weatherlight, he remained shocked to hear Urza's head talk to him. As it turned out, the loss of the body was a minor inconvenience to Urza, as his life and spirit were contained within the twin gemstones, the Might Stone and Weak Stone, which rested in his eye sockets.
That makes
his
sense.
powers had been greatly weakened. All of a sudden, there was still hope for Dominaria. Even as Yagmoth's black spirit wrapped around the entire world and prepared to crash it in his grasp, Urza and Gerard hovered high above the ground in the skyship Weatherlight, the main part of the legacy. Unwilling to accept defeat, they fired at one of the two satellites of Dominaria, the New Moon, and collected all the white mana that had been gathering there for millennia, ever since the Thran artificers of ancient times had launched it into the sky and caused Yagmoth's first defeat thousands of years ago. At this moment, recognizing that the tables were turning, Yagmoth tried to flee back to Phyrexia, but the stone druids had activated the volcano under the stronghold on Wrath, covering the only remaining portal to Phyrexia in deep magma. Yagmoth was hit and severely hurt by the stream of white mana, but he survived. Then, seeing the Weatherlight transfigured and wreathed in beaming white mana almost like a divine being, Yagmoth no longer saw it as Urza's skyship, but instead clearly perceived it to be the soul of Rebek, the protector of Dominaria and his sworn enemy.
Dang. Sorry. That's crazy. Yagmoth ended up seeing things in the end. he got so beat down that he started seeing ghosts shining down on him from white mana. That's insane. My gosh, Gerard not only being part of Urza, but switching sides like that. That's pretty insane. The whole entire thing is insane. It's so that's where the apocalypse comes from, huh? The apocalypse set. I'm telling you, man, I miss the old art, the old classic art. Yeah, Urza is nuts too. Like, he's crazy. Everything that he's been doing just to beat Yagmoth. It's like one of those at what cost type of things. And now he's just a floating head. He became the head of Walt Disney. he's like Walt Disney's head frozen in a jar, but only talkable.
Resolving to possess and destroy Rebek at last, Yagmoth summoned a storm of monstrous giant black tentacles that erupted from the black clouds and attacked the Weatherlight. It was in that desperate moment that Urza revealed to his crew the final secret behind his legacy. To finally fire the weapon, they had to combine the various pieces that they had gathered in their journey, alongside the Might Stone and the Weak Stone, Karn's body, and Gerard's life. Gerard took out Urza's gemstone eyes and placed them inside the cavities in Karn's chest, completing the legacy at last. Both Urza and Gerard died in the activation. The exact working of the legacy device is unknown, but it created a sentient light that exploded from the Weatherlight and dissolved Yagmoth's death cloud form, finally killing him.
Okay. But at what cost? At what cost?
As the fatal burst of energy ended the war, Phyrexian forces lost all their will to live with the death of their god. Phyrexia had finally been defeated. In the wake of the epic battle, Karn, now infused with Urza's spark and the power unleashed by the legacy, took up his former master's staff and soon left Dominaria. The plane of Phyrexia is nothing but a smoldering shell now. It was left in shambles after the 9 Titans launched their offensive, but whether or not any Phyrexians survived and stayed back is currently unknown. As for Yawgmoth, 100 years after the invasion, there have been rumors about him having somehow survived the legacy, but none of these voices has ever been proved. Hey you guys, thank you so much for tuning in and watching this episode of...
Oh, that was epic. That was actually pretty cool. Yeah, there's nothing more to that. Oh, wow. So, that was pretty fantastic. Yeah, I was trying to figure out why it is, because from the initial start, Urza sounded like a most, a good guy that was just, getting all the bad breaks. But it turns out he's an a-hole. He was an ends justify the means type of a-hole. He was just sacrificing whole worlds and people and everything just so he could be able to take down the Phyrexians. Now, as long as he got the Phyrexians eliminated, he didn't care, who survived or anything. As long as the primary threat was completely stamped out into oblivion, and that's pretty insane. That's actually pretty good writing too, to write a character like that. Yeah, because that makes him a very, very complex character, quite honestly, when you think about it, because he is showing remorse. It's not like, he's reveling in it. He's not doing the ha 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 type of thing. It's just that he understood exactly what the Phyrexians are all about because of his experience dealing with his brother, and he really did love his brother. Saying that was his family, and he just didn't like the fact that the Phyrexians corrupted his brother in the manner of being a puppet for Yawgmoth. So now we have this whole big epic thousands-year journey of putting an end to all, to at least Yawgmoth. How Phyrexia rose up again, we don't know. But what I do know is that these crazy beings, and Yawgmoth himself is quite possibly one of the best well written. I don't know if I want to say well written villains. I guess it's not so much the villains themselves, because Yawgmoth is very straightforward. He just wants to conquer everything. I think I should correctly say is Urza is one of the most well written characters in this in the whole of the Magic storyline. That's not very easy to create a character that can destroy that could sacrifice a whole plane. Like in this case, he sacrificed Sarah's realm in exchange for saving billions, and he still managed to show remorse. He's kind of like, he's not like the Fourth Doctor. The Fourth Doctor, if I remember correctly, there was an episode where he had a chance to destroy all the Daleks, and he just had to put 2 wires together to make it work, and he actually sit there and saying if he had the right to do that, he himself had the right to take out an entire species just because he didn't like them, because they were villainous. They were going to take over the world. Trillions of lives were at stake. Millions of worlds were at stake. Urza didn't have that. From what I'm understanding here, Urza didn't have that. He had no problem pulling the trigger and say goodbye, goodbye, Sarah's realm, in exchange for getting the pushback on Phyrexian, the gains on Phyrexia, and that's not easy. Honestly, that's very difficult for a character to live with, and that's actually really fascinating. You know what I'm saying? To try to and to try to get it right, because a lot of things could have gone wrong. But Urza is definitely a very popular character because he's got so many cards, and many people make many decks, magic decks around him and his storyline. So clearly the writing was hit it right out of the park. Although I did find it very weird that that him and Gerard would switch sides and join and be like all about Yawgmoth, only to set the stage for Gerard to not only chop Urza's head off, but then flip sides, and then Urza starts talking to him. His head starts talking to him like, "Hey, you killed me. Now what you gonna do is you're gonna take my eyes out and stick it in that giant golem over there." And Gerard was like, "Okay." It's just so weird. That's kind of that's very weird to that must have been so weird to write that. I can't imagine how weird that must have been to type that out. Saying, okay, so Gerard has a long talk with a talking head, and on the head's request, remove the stones from the eyes and stick it into a giant robot, a giant sentient golem. Man. So, so that means that now my next step is covering Mirrodin, because with this whole entire first Phyrexian invasion done, which I'm glad I was able to get the first Phyrexian invasion. I couldn't even find lore videos on that. That means that now we got to find out what Karn was doing, and how was it that New Phyrexia came to be. It's not hard to know for me to know that New Phyrexia happened, because they have a whole set called New Phyrexia, All Will Be One, and I have a couple of cards from that set. So I'm very curious as to how that came to be. Like, how did the Phyrexians rise once again, and then this time really do significant damage? Saying like really get into the meat and details. The cards can only take me so far, so but nevertheless, epic picture. Love the picture, and I really wish they would go back to the old style art. Quite honestly, I like the old style art from the '90s, because it has that nice Renaissance feel to it. It makes it look fantastical. It really feels like a fantasy. These days, the art, especially with the storylines modernization, it kind of feels a little too sterile. That's why so many people are having fun with Tarkia right now, because the artwork is very fantastical, and the art really does give me the old days, the '90s feel to it, even though it's not the same old art style to it. They gotta do something about it. That's Urza's complete story, Planeswalker Lore Anthology, episode 6 from Octopus Channel. Be sure to check out that channel and support all the videos there. Pretty good. Very well done video. Very, very well done. I was definitely encapsulated. Engrossed. Alright. Let's see. Next up. So, I've been working on that. Started the Pokemon lore. Last time I did the complete story, basically from the dawn of time. Hold on a second. Let me think this through here. So okay. So Pokemon. I've been doing. I started Pokemon research. I highly recommend everybody watch my research in Pokemon. I see the views. I see the views. But I did the complete story. So it went from the dawn of time, which for some reason started off as an egg. Universe started off as an egg, and then went through all the video games that were associated with that egg, which was pretty fascinating. Quite honestly, it was a very long watch too. It was a pretty long watch. So rather than delving any further deeper into the world lore at the moment, I figure let me try checking out some specific Pokemon and see how they are impacting the world. Saying like what roles do they play in the world? Like and I don't mean like the legendary creatures, like Zygarde and Reshiram and all that big stuff. The legendary birds and the legendary dogs. I mean, or Mewtwo and Mew. I mean, like the complete story of Mimikyu from Thunderzolt channel. My first time checking that channel out. It's been apparently it's some kind of big hype around Mimikyu. This is my first time getting to learn about this Pokemon. This came after Platinum. I had stopped at Platinum, so I'm still working my way back into the whole Pokemon mythos and the games. Hopefully I'll get to do Violet and Sword. I got the games, but nevertheless, it doesn't mean that I can't get to learn the specifics of individual Pokemon. I like to see more of these types of videos, quite honestly, because how they live in the world is, and how they shape out the world is pretty fascinating. But it can't just always be about legendaries, so to speak, if you think about it very carefully. If you think about it, we always hear about how these gods and godlike creatures and legendaries, manipulate the whole thing. But what about the little guys? You know what I'm saying? What type of impact are they doing? You know what I'm saying? There's got to be lore on Pidgeys and Rattatas. You know what I'm saying? So, the complete story of Mimikyu from Thunderzolt, you'll find a link down in the description below. Let's not waste too many time. Let's not waste too much time, and let's get researching. How in the world did you get all twisted up? I just put you to the side for 2 seconds, and all of a sudden you decided to go into a knot. You naughty earphones. Here we go. There we are.
Mimikyu is a Pokemon that has one of the most mysterious origins in the entire franchise. At first glance, you would think that Mimikyu is just a knockoff Pikachu, but its lore and the reason why it hides its true identity has to be one of the most depressing backstories in the Pokemon anime. But to understand this, we gotta go to the Alola region, where Mimikyu first debuted in. Now, Mimikyu is not like other Pokemon. At first glance, it just looks like a knockoff Pikachu playing pretend, but there's actually a really sinister reason on why it's doing this. The true form underneath Mimikyu cannot be seen by anybody, because if you look at it, you will end up dying. Because of this curse, Mimikyu puts on a disguise to protect itself from others, so nobody around it gets hurt. Mimikyu is not trying to hurt these people intentionally. Most Mimikyus actually decide to dress up as Pikachu, because Pikachu is viewed as a friendly, approachable Pokemon, and Mimikyu still wants to make friends, it just doesn't want to hurt people, so it imitates Pikachu.
That's
this is the reason
crazy.
why most Mimikyus do it, but the reason why the Mimikyu in the Pokemon anime does it is for a lot more of a resentful reason. In the Alola region, when Jesse and James are traveling through the woods, they end up encountering a Mimikyu, but they think it's a Pikachu at first until they realize this is a lot different of a Pokemon. Mimikyu starts talking to Meowth, and Meowth gets really scared, saying this Pokemon is really creepy and they gotta dip. But Jessie says that Mimikyu actually looks kind of cute, and she wants to catch it. She ends up throwing Meowth at Mimikyu to try to weaken it, but
of course,
none of the attacks work. Meowth is getting pretty pissed off about this, so he goes and tries to uncover Mimikyu's true identity. And this was Meowth's biggest mistake yet. Just a glimpse of this Pokemon caused him to pass out. When Meowth awakened, he was walking down a really dark hall, and a bunch of ghost Pokemon were leading him down a path to cross over to the afterlife. This Mimikyu literally put Meowth in a Genjutsu, and this Pokemon is dying.
Yo,
if it wasn't for Jesse and James immediately pouring water on
he really
Meowth
was
and trying to
dying?
snap him out of this, he would have been dead. When Meowth wakes up, he explains that he almost died, and this Pokemon Mimikyu is not to be messed around with. Team Rocket ends up getting scared, and they run away. Conveniently, Ash and the gang also pull up and encounter the Mimikyu. Rotom Dex ends up explaining to them that they can't look at the Mimikyu's true identity or they'll end up dying, and Pikachu ends up fighting this Pokemon, and Mimikyu is really mad when it sees Pikachu. Team Rocket is hiding in the bushes when they notice these two Pokemon fighting, and they notice that Mimikyu does also have a common hatred for this Pokemon, and they end up revealing themselves, saying that they want to join forces with Mimikyu. Ash and Pikachu aren't trying to hear any of that, and they go in to attack Meowth, but then Mimikyu uses Shadow Ball to end up protecting Meowth and joining forces with Team Rocket. Mimikyu ends up explaining to Meowth in Pokemon language that it genuinely hates Pikachu. It is super resentful towards it, and it hates how it gets all of the praise and glory, while Mimikyu has to be feared by other people. And honestly, Mimikyu does have to live a sad life, and Jesse realizes this and comforts Mimikyu, and while their battle's about to continue, it ends up getting interrupted by Beware, and Mimikyu leaves along with Team Rocket.
Wow, he's talking very fast here, but wow, that's actually hilarious. That's actually hilarious that they actually have a death Pokemon, a Pokemon we're looking at, and you start clawing your eyes out and killing yourself. That's pretty dark. I thought Lavender Town was dark, but this is crazy dark. Like, they took this to Cthulhu levels of dark here. Oh my gosh! Do they have the little idol, the stone idol of the Mimikyu? Do they have a cult worshiping it? Like, wow! We got a Lovecraftian Pokemon here. I want to capture that. I hope I could capture that when I start playing those games. The later games, the later generations. That's pretty crazy. Oh no. And then aside with Team Rocket, that's the worst thing that could happen. You don't want it to end up in the hands of a villain. Teaming up with villains. You could kill everybody. Team Rocket could kill everybody. Oh no. In the wrong hands? The wrong Pokemon trainer?
Later on, when Jesse is trying to catch Mimikyu with a Pokeball, it doesn't want to get captured by any regular ball, and when Jesse uses a luxury ball, Mimikyu decides to get in the Pokeball. From this point forward, these two join forces, and Mimikyu was officially on the squad. They ended up fighting Pikachu a few more times, and Mimikyu even won one time, but most of the times when Mimikyu would fight Pikachu, Beware would come and interrupt the fight, so there would never be a clear winner. Everything was going pretty fine for Mimikyu, until one day they were fighting Ash and the gang, and Ash and Pikachu blasted Team Rocket off, and when Mimikyu landed, its costume ripped. When Jessie got a tiny glimpse of Mimikyu, she was completely freaked out and knew she had to cover up her Pokemon so that no one else can get hurt. She ends up getting a paper bag to put over Mimikyu's head, and Jessie thinks this is a pretty good opportunity to get Mimikyu a brand new costume not related to Pikachu so it can overcome its resentment.
And yet she's holding it upside down.
Maybe it's time for Mimikyu to start a new arc. These two spend the whole day with each each other, trying out new fits, and Mimikyu somewhat vibing with it, but it really just wants its old costume back to look like Pikachu. It doesn't help that when they were chilling at a park bench, Mimikyu witnessed some kids walk right past him and start glazing and having fun with the inflatable Pikachu statue, and Mimikyu realized that it has to look like Pikachu if it ever wants to be that loved.
So
Jessie
it
realizes that this costume is super important to her Pokemon, so she decides to fix up the old costume for Mimikyu. In the meantime though, when Mimikyu's hanging around, Meowth ends up seeing a bit of Mimikyu's body again and gets put back into this Genjutsu type of world where Meowth almost dies, so Mimikyu is pretty deadly, but in the end, Mimikyu put on its new costume, had newfound confidence, and they went over to fight Ash and the rest of the gang. Now, they didn't end up winning this time, but Mimikyu's hatred for Pikachu was still standing strong. It was so strong, in fact, that in a later episode, when Jessie was on an island, she got gifted the Mimikyu Z Crystal, and Mimikyu taught them to dance to use his own custom Z move. They thought with their newfound power, they would be able to box Ash and Pikachu, and when they challenged them to a battle, the battle was looking pretty good in Mimikyu's favor. It led all the way up to Mimikyu using his Z move, which would engulf Pikachu within Mimikyu. I don't know if they're trying to kill this Pokemon or something.
Yeah, they're trying to kill
Pikachu
Pikachu.
Successfully went off. Everybody thought Pikachu was done for, but he has plot armor since he's the main character and wrapped himself in an electro web to defend himself from the attack, and they ended up defeating Mimikyu. Mimikyu was super unhappy that it was just not winning against Ash's Pikachu, so it did the next best thing in a later episode, using its Z move on this island with a bunch of Pikachus consuming them. Now this plan didn't work for long because the girl that was on this island used the Z move with her Pikachu to destroy Mimikyu's Z move, and this only expedited the hate.
They should all be dead by that logic, the story's logic.
Season, leading all the way up to the
no, seriously, why aren't they dead? They said that if it go under, if they see what's underneath the Mimikyu, they'll be facing death. So, what the heck? They somehow got zapped back to life or something, like they from the afterlife, like what happened with Meowth or something. They should have already been dead. And stop with the plot armor. Dang it, Pikachu. What, man, I know it's a kid's show, but still. I don't get that. They were all underneath the cloak. That means that they're seeing what it looks like. They should all be dead, all of them, and those weird hairdos that they had. Why they got those weird hairdos?
Alola Pokemon League. The way this tournament works is a little different. It's a battle royale, and only the top trainers that survive this round will be able to move on, and Jessie's plan was to lay low so that they would naturally move on to the next round. But Mimikyu didn't care about that plan, because the second it saw Pikachu at the Battle Royale, it started targeting them. And it wasn't just Ash's Pikachu, it was all the Pikachus there. Mimikyu was legitimately going crazy. It knocked out this Pikachu that looks just like Boruto and another random Pikachu, and it used the rest of its energy to try to attack Ash's Pikachu, even though the battle was already over. This man qualified, but he still just wanted smoke. Jessie's Mimikyu and Ash's Pikachu never had a fated match in the Alola League because Jessie got eliminated pretty early on. Their time in the Alola region was running short, and Mimikyu never got over its insecurities wanting to be like Pikachu. One day, Giovanni, the boss of Team Rocket, ended up calling Jessie, James, and Meowth, telling them to report back to the Kanto region and to leave Alola. Team Rocket was pretty sad about this, and they didn't want their new Alola Pokemon to come back with them in Kanto, so they were going to release them and leave them in the Alola region, and this got Mimikyu very sad, since the only trainers that ever loved them or take care of Mimikyu are now leaving him. Mimikyu decided that it needed some time away from Team Rocket, and during its stroll it ended up encountering Ash and his Pikachu, and they got into their final battle. The two Pokemon started fighting, but Ash was pretty confused since Mimikyu's acting rogue on its own. Eventually, this fight resulted into Pikachu using Iron Tail to push Mimikyu over the beach. And when Mimikyu decided to look down into the water, it saw a reflection of its true form, and it got really sad about this.
No!
It became really depressed about this, so much to the point where it passed out in the water, and Ash and Pikachu had to drag it back on.
It almost killed itself?
When Mimikyu stood up, it just stared at Pikachu Pikachu and became really sad since it will truly never look like this Pokemon and will never be praised like it, and Mimikyu ended their rivalry walking off into the forest. Meowth ended up finding Mimikyu out in the wild and started comforting the Pokemon. He lets Mimikyu know not to be down and that his looks don't define him, and everyone at Team Rocket likes him anyway, so he doesn't have to define himself through Pikachu. This gets Mimikyu pretty happy, and the Pokemon wipes away its tears and ends up reuniting with Team Rocket as they leave the Alola region to go back to Kanto, while Mimikyu stays with Beware and Alola. Now, this isn't the last time we saw Mimikyu. It has made a few appearances in Pokemon Journeys, but overall, its story arc ended here. And me personally, I'm pretty glad this Pokemon doesn't have a raging hatred for Pikachu, and it's able to be confident within itself. If I'm being honest, if Mimikyu was real, I believe it would have no trouble making friends since everybody online loves this Pokemon. And if you want to hear more stories about Pokemon getting abandoned, click the video on your screen about lost Pokemon specials because...
Okay. That was actually unexpected. I thought it was gonna be more video game based, but this one followed the TV lore, which was pretty hilarious. That's crazy. So basically, the complete story of Mimikyu on the anime series. All right, fair enough. That's a nice, interesting depiction of a Pokemon. Very gruesome that it wears a costume of Pikachu and it can't, and people can't look at it or anything because then they'll have a Lovecraftian nightmare on their hands. Very interesting take on Jesse and James because I saw the first season of Pokemon a long time ago. So I know who those two are, especially. So I know who those two are, and they're always after Pikachu. I'm surprised they even got this far in the series, like all the way up to what is it, Sun and Moon? That's Alola region, Sun and Moon. Let me know in the comments below. But that's pretty freaking hilarious that that this little thing here is not only popular on the internet, but can genuinely kill people in Pokemon just by looking at it. That I never thought that I would that it would get even more darker than Lavender Town, but I'm thinking I'm missing out on a lot more dark stuff in Pokemon. And for a show that's supposed to, for a franchise that's supposed to be about be all about the kids, dang, that's insane. Like this is really intense stuff, very intense stuff. And I'm all for it. Man, but then again, that's Japanese culture for you. You know what I'm saying? The whole ghosts and myths, beasts, that mythical stuff, kami, spirituality. It falls in line. Even though, if I remember correctly, Alola's supposed to be Hawaii in the world of Pokemon. So it's a Hawaiian thing, probably a Hawaiian legend or a myth or something. But even so, this is a well-designed character. It's a very well-designed character. And in terms of the world build, it is scary, if you come across something like that, dressing up like Pikachu because it's the most popular character, the most popular Pokemon within the context of the Pokemon world, within the world build, is pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive. Also, sending Meowth to fight, what I'm assuming is a ghost type Pokemon. I'm assuming Mimikyu is a ghost type Pokemon. Of course, Meowth is gonna beat it because normal attacks have no effect on ghost attacks. And if I remember my stat chart correctly, ghost attacks cannot affect normal Pokemon either. So it's kind of dumb. Although Shadow Ball is a dark type attack, so that I do know. So it was kind of dumb of them to send me out to fight. Of course, it's not gonna beat him up or anything. Of course, he's not gonna beat up Mimikyu. But that's pretty fun in terms of the context of the anime. In the context of the game, I wouldn't mind looking for that and see how Mimikyu actually interacts with the video game world. But nevertheless, this was a very fun character to see. And I would like to see that in the game. I want to get that. I definitely want to catch that. I could see why it's got a lot of appeal. And it's because of his connection to Pikachu. It's like, yeah, he's out to beat up Pikachu because he's not popular like Pikachu. And what he'll look like, I don't know. Although it will be interesting to see what he will look like. But nevertheless, it was a very good short to the point video. Not enough time to keep up. You know how I'm about fast speakers. They could be very, very difficult to keep up with. But with regards to anime, with regards to the anime context, pretty good, pretty fun. That's pretty nice to see. So hopefully I'll find one for Mimikyu in the video game context and see how that one was played out, and maybe even contrasted with the anime. That would be a very interesting thing to see how both stories work similarly and differentiate from each other. That'll be a good thing to see. Sometimes it happens. When you're switching out from format to format, you have to make adjustments accordingly. To the medium, it happens a lot in like comic books. When they get made into movies, they alter the characters up a bit. Same with books. A lot of novels, when they get adapted into stories, they tend to get shifted a bit. Like the Lord of the Rings, there's no Tom Bombadil. There's no Tom Bombadil in the Lord of the Rings movies. So things like that. And so not bad. Good channel. This was a pretty good channel. Once again, Thunderzolt channel. Links are in the description down below. So be sure to show the love. Let's fix myself up here. All right. All right. All right. Last research of the night. Okay, now I'm gonna debut new research. Babylon 5. J. Michael Straczynski's, I guess would be safe to say, magnum opus. What an amazing science fiction series this it was. Went through so much crazy productions. It was unfortunate because from what I understood, it was supposed to be 5 full seasons. Like, he had the story all laid out perfectly for 5 full seasons, but because by season 4 it was uncertain if he was going to get greenlit for the 5th season, he hurried up the whole storyline and wrapped it up in season 4, and then found out, oh yeah, there's going to be a season 5. And season 5 was not very strong, but that's not his fault, because again, he didn't know if the season was going to get greenlit, and he didn't want to take a chance and wanted to wrap it up, the whole entire main war, the main plot, which is quite unfortunate, because we got straddled with a very terrible Psychor plot, and then ended up with the final episode showing the fate of everybody in the future, in their later lives. Yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite sci-fis. One of my favorites, although it's been a very long time since I followed it, and being able to come back and revisit it is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool endeavor, because I want to tap into J. Michael Straczynski's mind. Just to do a little quick fun fact. This was a long time ago. New York Comic Con, was in its infancy. It was like I think it was year two, either year two or year three of New York Comic Con, and I went there. J. Michael Straczynski had a panel, but it was no ordinary panel. Basically, it wasn't your typical fan panel with the Q&A and such. He actually held a workshop type panel, and I got to go in there. I see him sitting there. Very, it was one of the small rooms. He kept it very simple. He didn't use like a big stage, right? He kept it very personable by going into a small room, and there was a whole bunch of other writers like me, and he made it very clear that this was not a Q&A session. He was going to talk about how to write, and it was epic. What I'm saying? It was no ordinary Q&A session. Basically, it was, what I'm saying. He got out of the way. The behind the scenes stuff. Saying real quickly, made it very clear that the only questions he wanted was things related to writing. You know what I'm saying? Because he wanted to talk to us about writing. And and yes, I did get to ask a question. I asked him about foreshadowing. It was pretty cool. It was awesome. It was so epic seeing him there, and hearing him, talk to us about how to write, what to do with writing, and so on, techniques and everything. And that was a once in a lifetime experience. To get, and believe me, we were all taking notes. We were all writing down, taking notes. I don't know I don't know what I did with the notes, honestly. I don't know what I did with the notes. But if I find it, I hope I didn't lose them in the floods, the hurricane floods. Oh man, that'd be messed up if I did. But if I could find those notes, man, I would love to share what his thoughts are, what he shared. Because it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool, So, with that said, the first research into Babylon 5 is going to be titled "The History of the Forlans" by Omega Ordained channel. You'll find a link down in the description below. We're going to start off with the Forlans. Then I'm gonna move over to the Shadows, and then start working through the world build from there, just to get a good idea of both factions, what I'm saying, and how they were approached by J. Michael Straczynski, then see how these two affected the world at large. I do want to warn all of you, because it's a very old series. I'm not sure if it's available. I'm not sure if it's available. I know it's on DVD. I think it's on DVD box set. But I just want to warn you all that if you haven't watched Babylon 5, I would highly recommend watching it first before jumping into my research videos, because I'm not doing any primers. I'm not doing any starts. I'm going into like all the way in. I'm in the deep end because I've seen the series. So I know basically, the gist of it. So, what I'm saying? So I just want to warn you all, if you don't want to get spoiled, don't watch the research videos. Watch the show first and then start watching my research videos, or Omega Ordained and so on. So just to give you all a heads up, what I'm saying? Don't come in here not knowing Babylon 5, because I'm not going into the beginning and going through the whole primer, for those for beginner stuff like I did with the other franchises. So, with that said, let us begin the research, everybody. The history of Babylon 5.
Hello and welcome to the history of Babylon 5. Today's episode, The Vorlons. The Vorlons are one of the oldest sentient races in the galaxy, who, along with other races that developed about the same time, are known as the First Ones. When in the presence of other races, Vorlons often wear encounter suits. As such, few people have ever seen what a Vorlon actually looks like. Since Vorlons are capable of surviving in an oxygen atmosphere, the suits are usually entirely to hide their appearance. Apart from allowing them to hide their appearance, encounter suits also allow Vorlons to navigate the environment more easily, interact with others, and conduct business as necessary. Vorlon encounter suits are equipped with a language translation device that transforms their unique language into a more common tongue. The Vorlon speech sounds like a sequence of overlapping musical tones, chirps, and chimes. The psychological mechanism they have to make this sound is unknown. A Vorlon's true appearance is that of a bioluminescent, partly translucent, radically symmetrical, multi-tentacled creature, loosely resembling Earth octopuses. Though they may appear insubstantial, they are in fact physical life forms. Due to their tampering with the development of many of the galaxy's younger species, Vorlons have appeared in the guise of divine beings. Although their appearance can vary greatly depending on the species and individual's own history and mythology, this mass, yet individualized hallucination is accomplished by the way of actively projecting a telepathic image, which, when used on a great number of people, requires a significant effort for Vorlons and can be a great strain. To most beings, this image takes on the form of a being of light from their own cultural mythology.
Yeah, that episode was crazy.
One of the reasons for the encounter suits is to prevent a Vorlon from being seen directly and requiring this kind of telepathic projection. The interpersonal society of the Vorlons seem to be dependent on their telepathy. All Vorlons appear to be connected telepathically, though to what extent their thoughts are shared or hidden remains a mystery. Vorlons who have their own ships also have a telepathic connection with those vessels. Very soon after the death of Kosh, the Vorlon High Council was aware of this tragedy. It is unknown whether they are made aware because of some telepathic bond or whether they are contacted by Kosh's ship, who would have known immediately of his master's demise. The true extent of the Vorlon's telepathic abilities are unknown. However, it has been known to have a strong influence when a person's mind is in an altered state, such as sleeping, dreaming, exhausted, or in a heightened state of awareness. It is for this reason that their presence is often associated with visions and dream imagery. Vorlons are known to have lived incredibly.
Whew, he's moving very fast. But, they do appear luminescent. The episode when Kosh made his official appearance was just fantastic. As he was saving Captain Sheridan from death. Telepathically, they're very, very powerful. And they're very cryptic. It's pretty amazing. Kosh especially, he would just be there, pop up out of nowhere, and he would just, have some type of either specific moment or speak in riddles. One of the best moments was when he took Captain Sheridan to a little hole, this little spot, and told him to go inside. And when he went in and sat down, he was surrounded by a whole group of dudes who were just sitting around. They were completely cloaked and everything. And one of them just slipped the little dish, and he put in some cash, and they just started singing to him, all of them, and then that was it. And Kosh said it was one moment of perfect beauty. That's how insanely mysterious Kosh is. They can be, especially Kosh, because he was a very positive character, but he was also very stern. Like he won't let people just challenge him outright. Because Sheridan did challenge him outright at one point, but they're pretty tough, pretty dangerous guys, and it's I think that's all I got right now. But holy mackerel, he goes fast.
Incredibly long lives. At the time of his death in 2260, Kosh was among one of the oldest members of the species, and was old enough to have known Valen, meaning that he was at least 1,000 years old, likely more than 1 million. Vorlons have demonstrated telekinesis abilities, including self-propelled flight in a standard gravity environment. The distant past. The Vorlons are among the first races in the galaxy to attain sentience and become spacefaring creatures. In the distant past, the Vorlons attempted a grand experiment into reaching a higher plane of existence where the souls existed and all life was founded. To accomplish this, they poured all of their knowledge into creating a gateway to this dimension. After activating the gate, the vortex into third space was formed and the aliens within the realm came popping out, intent on destroying all other forms of life. After much hardship, the Vorlons finally managed to push the enemy back. But one of the gateways was lost in hyperspace, where it was hidden from the Vorlons. They would encode some of their servants with an automatic message to warn the younger races of the threat from the inhabitants of third space. Over the millennia that followed, many of the first ones moved out beyond the galactic rim to explore and to allow the younger species to evolve on their own. The Vorlons were one of the first races chosen to stay behind to help with the guidance and development of the younger races. The other main race that stayed was the Shadows. Although both races share the same goal, they had a widely opposing philosophy of how the species should grow and evolve. The Shadows believed that strength and growth comes through conflict, and so they would start wars throughout the galaxy with the notion that those who survived would be stronger than better. The Vorlons believed in strength and growth through order and discipline, not chaos. Though they tried to work together for a time, this philosophical difference led to bitterness between the two races for countless millennia, eventually escalating into all-out war. Both the Vorlons and the Shadows began enlisting younger races to fight on their side. Eventually, the Vorlons and Shadows had so many servants that they would rarely have to face each other in open combat, preferring to use
proxy
younger
wars
races as their pawns. After seeing the weaknesses of the Shadows held against the telepaths, the Vorlons began seeding the ability among the younger races in order to use them as a weapon in the coming Shadow Wars. 10,000 years before the dawn of the Third Age of Mankind, the Vorlons fought the Shadows in the last Great Shadow War. According to Delenn, that was the last time the first ones openly walked among the younger races. The Shadows were eventually defeated but not destroyed. They went into hibernation for thousands of years and patiently awaited another opportunity to strike. 1,000 years ago, around 1,000 years before the founding of Babylon 5, another Shadow War erupted. While the Shadows had slept, though, the Servants of Light had been watching and waiting. This war was not as destructive as previous ones because the Shadows moved to re-establish themselves too quickly, and were recognized and stopped by a coalition of Vorlons, Minbaris, and others. The final Shadow War. The Shadows began awakening from their hibernation in the late 2250s and started collecting their ships and supplies and gathering allies. In 2258, the conflict between the two sides began anew, though secretly at first. Once they had gathered enough allies, though, the Shadows began to strike openly at seemingly random targets. Whole worlds that had been associated with the Vorlons were being destroyed by the Death Clouds. Conversely, after the death of Vorlon Ambassador Kosh and John Sheridan's trip to Zahadum, the Vorlons became convinced that the only way to stop the war was to destroy all planets that had been touched by the Shadows. Neither faction would strike directly at the other, however. They were content with destroying one another's support systems, but the
That's insane. The things didn't go their way, so they decided let's just scorch earth all the young ones. Now that's messed up. You know, that was not what they were supposed to do. That was not what the first ones left them there for. And it's like, okay, we're just gonna hit the reset button on many of these races. We're gonna scorch earth, and those who haven't been touched by either of us are gonna get to live. That's crazy. That's crazy that this is what all has happened, especially with three Shadow Wars. That's a little extreme for something you're supposed to not supposed to do. Wow, you know, it's and it's crazy because they're godlike beings, and the Minbari were aware of this because they're the oldest of the younger races. Just to make that clear, they're the oldest of the youngest race, spacefaring races, because they were the first ones to, if I remember correctly, if I remember the lore correctly, the Minbari were the first of the young races to actually explore space. So they were the first ones to traverse the entire galaxy and seeing the other worlds. And so they got involved with that second Shadow War as a result. And fully aware of what's to come, they've been preparing for that fight with the Shadows with the help of the Vorlons, while they continued exploring space and meeting up with the younger races and finding the other younger races. That's pretty effed up, though. Yeah, things aren't going my way. I'm gonna scorch Earth. I'm gonna scorch all the planets and annihilate billions of lives. Way to go, first ones. You, nice job breaking it.
Shadows and Vorlon's fleet rarely engaged one another. The Vorlon's high command also replaced Kosh with a new ambassador, also named Kosh. Finally, the Army of Light discovered the Shadows' strategy. They were herding the frightened races of the galaxy toward one particular system in space, where they would soon strike and wipe out all the Vorlon's allies in one grand sweep. Meanwhile, the Vorlons continued to destroy planets where the Shadows had influence, and Centauri Prime was quickly falling under their sights. In the nick of time, the Vorlon planet killer was called away to the Coronia system. Captain Sheridan and the Army of Light trapped the Shadows, the Vorlons, and all remaining First Ones in a crucible where they would be forced to confront one another. The conflict between these giants ended at Coronia 6, when the younger races, led by Captain Sheridan and Delenn, confronted the First Ones with the fact that they were no longer shepherds, but hindrances to the advancement of those that they sought to help. It was there that the Vorlons, the Shadows, and all remaining First Ones departed beyond the rim of our galaxy. The Vorlon Legacy. Though the Vorlons themselves had left the galaxy, their technology and their legacy remained. After the end of the final Shadow War, several races sent expeditions to the Vorlon homeworld in an attempt to get their hands on any technology that had been left behind. These expeditions were never heard from again, destroyed by automated defense systems before they got close enough to the planet. When this was mentioned to Lita Alexander, she replied that the Vorlon homeworld was off limits until the younger races were ready, which would be about 1 million years. Elements of the Vorlon tech had been put to use by the Interstellar Alliance. The White Star Fleet was built with Vorlon technology that had been interwoven with the Minbari hardware under the supervision of the new Ambassador Kosh. The Alliance continued to use and develop Vorlon technology on the new Destroyer-class White Star prototypes.
That's about as close to Vorlon tech as they ever got.
The main guns and energy refractoring skins of the ships were both diverted from Vorlon tech. By 2271, the Alliance had managed to adapt Vorlon jump drive technology for use on the new Valen-class cruiser, allowing the ship to access quantum space even through standard jump gates. In the year 1,002,261, humans and Minbari were finally allowed to enter Vorlon space. Many humans relocated to the Vorlon homeworld, renaming it New Earth, following the Earth's destruction when Sol was induced to go supernova by parties unknown. Thank you for watching the history of the Vorlons. Special thanks to the Babylon Project for all information you heard.
Okay, that was pretty fast. That's pretty fast, but that was a good chunk of information. So yeah, he went through it very quickly, but that's a good summary of the Vorlons in a nutshell. They were tasked to help guide the young ones, the younger spacefaring races, along with the Shadows, but they both had a difference of opinion, and they decided to make proxy wars out of the young ones. It's a pretty that's a pretty cruel thing. You know, they completely lost sight of what they were supposed to do, and were just more busy fixating on each other instead of cultivating and guiding the younger races, as they were busy spacefaring, going to wars, from the Dilgar to the Centauri, the Narn, Pakmara, of course Earth. And yeah, it was getting a little bit out of control. You know, saying it was almost like they lost the plot, the Vorlons and the Shadows. The designs are pretty impressive too, although those are encounter suits. And then once they got revealed to be angelic in nature, another key thing about J. Michael Straczynski in Babylon 5 is how he handled the whole notion of, well, not the notion, but the whole thing of religion. And the notion that the Vorlons would be the angelic beings that biblical scholars of each respective world had seen, the prophets had witnessed, and given information from the Vorlons. That was Straczynski. What I'm assuming was Straczynski trying to convey, and that from there these races started to develop. That's supposed to be like the guidance to build the races up and get modernized, to the point that they would be able to hit space travel and interact with each other as such, and then begin to help guide them to the path of the rim, of going to the rim when they hit that point. And yeah, they all failed. The Shadows and the Vorlons technically did fail in their task. It was a simple task, and they took it to such extreme ends that millions, if not billions, started dying because the Vorlons started attacking, and the Shadows began scorch earthing, all the planets that were influenced by each other. And it's like, yeah, the League of Non-Aligned Worlds is like, hold on a second here, are you serious? We did everything you've asked for us, and now you're just going to wipe us out because we don't fit what you want. That's why Sheridan's little speech to the Vorlons and the Shadows, calling them out on their BS and telling them to get the hell out of our galaxy, was really peak, because we're tired. the humans were like, yeah, we're tired of y'all. All the races were like, yeah, we're tired of you, each and every one of you, because all you're doing is manipulating us, experimenting on us, and killing us, and it needs to stop. Stop it. But he kind of speed run through the back end after the Vorlons left, regarding how the younger races tried to get into the Vorlon homeworld to reverse engineer the tech and incorporate it, and it wouldn't be accessed until a million years, which is pretty funny. That actually we got to see 1 million years in the season 4 ending, if I remember correctly. Yeah, season 4 ending, where it was just where it was fake archival footage of what had happened to humans from human perspective, Earth. Each subsequent year, where they went through Renaissance, then back to the Dark Ages, then back to technology, then out to space, and and it ended on that note. And that was the season 4 finale, until of course was greenlit to season 5, and poor Straczynski was like, great, I just wrapped this all up, now I gotta create a whole new thing that may not even happen. And the crazy thing is that unfortunately season 5 was just not strong enough either. I think it was the ratings. It took a ratings hit, which is unfortunate because of the fact that he got blindsided. Like, his whole principal story, which was the Shadows and the Vorlons, was it. He did have plans for the psychic war, but I could see what happened in terms of the story. I'll have to go a little bit more deeper on the behind the scenes stuff. There's plenty of behind the scenes videos. I'm just going off the top of my head, but it was supposed to be a 5-year thing, and I think that was supposed to be it. And if he got lucky, then season 6 would have been the Psy War. Would have been the whole war with the Psy Corps and the Psychic War and Mars independence. But that was if after 5 years, but because the initial runs, he ended up not getting that fifth season. He wrapped everything up in season 4. He didn't even get the proper ending. And then he got hit with the okay, here's a season 5 on TNT, and yeah. So it was just unfortunate, saying that's not indicative of Straczynski failing as a writer. It was a production issue. That was the executives straight up that messed him up. That messed him up, and it's unfortunate. And he tried his best. He trying to expand on the Babylon 5 series. There was he had that spin-off series that didn't get too far. It's very hard to do when you wrap up a story. Everything gets all wrapped up, and now you're stuck with where do we go from here. It happened. This is what happened with Endgame as well. With Endgame, it happened in the same manner. Avengers Endgame. It's like, what's Disney and Marvel doing? Saying, did they have any sort of plans for post Endgame since they wanted to continue on? It happens, saying you sometimes get these, you wrap it up all nice and neat, and you get a production, suddenly production executives like, no, we could do this, and you're like, huh? How? That's what happened with Back to the Future as well. Back to the Future was a one-off movie, and what ended up happening was that they were like, hey, you did a great movie, we want a sequel. And Zemeckis like, I wrapped this up. What am I supposed to do? Well, you kind of said you're going to do the future. Yeah, but that was just a joke. I wasn't serious. So, yeah, as a writer, like a warning to writers, be sure that you're very firm with how you wrap up your story. Don't leave any openings for potential sequels if you have no means of doing sequels. If you're not intending to do sequels. Saying make sure that there's that it's impossible to wrap up. A very good example is Thelma and Louise. I haven't seen the movie, but from what I understand, the way that movie ended, there was no way to do a sequel. But because it was so good, the executives wanted a sequel, and they're like, we can't do it. It's all done. It's completely wrapped up. There's no way you could do a follow up to this. So yeah, make sure you completely close out if you do not want to do a sequel. If you do want to do a sequel, then leave an opening. That's what George Lucas did. Saying he kept Darth Vader alive if in the event. I'm just assuming that he kept Darth Vader alive just in case a sequel was possible. He has his main villain. Smart move. Or else it wrapped up nice and neat, and that was the end of Star Wars. But we ended up with a sequel, and Darth Vader was alive for us to see the seminal classic Empire Strikes Back. So make sure that that you close up your series, or else you're gonna end up pigeonholed by executives or producers, publishers, whoever it is that doesn't understand that when the story is done, it's done, and you'll end up like poor Michael Straczynski and or Robert Zemeckis, and end up finding yourselves doing a sequel you had no intention of making, or continuing a story you had no intention of continuing on. So yeah, be extra careful. So that was Babylon 5. From the History of the Vorlons, Omega Ordained. Be sure to check the channel again. Links down in the description below. So, there we go. All right. We are done. This was great. I hope all of you had a great time hanging out. I hope those of you who all my new subscribers for the past 8 weeks. I hope you all got a good understanding of what this channel is about. I just have a feeling I got to do it again in 4 weeks when I do the next live multi-stream. So to close out, just so I can make sure it's very clear. Okay, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is my daily uploads. I'm focusing on Skibidi Toilet, Warhammer, and BattleTech. So those 3 days are gonna be covered. The live multi streams, I'll do the other franchises like Pokemon, Battle 5, and more. You know, the side ones. You know what I'm saying? They'll be archived, but so that way I can have in case I decide to how you say. In case I decide to take a break from live streaming, so I can focus on continuing with Truckin' no Bouken, I'll have some footage to post up. So at the very least, I got these 3 here. You know, say if I decide to take the week, do another week, I got these 3 here to work with. So that's the game plan. And Thursdays are random days. So, and of course that one Friday a month is the live multi-stream. So that's the scheduling. All right. Please, by all means, comment, like, subscribe, follow, and hit the notification bell. And welcome to the channel. Let's do this journey together and get to the big 500. Let's get to that big 500. It's a good starting goal for this channel. Big 500. If you like all this content. Anime is still a thing. If you want to catch me doing anime, you can catch me on my live multi-stream on Twitch and Kick. If you want to see my research into anime, if you don't want to wait for me to edit it down and throw it in there, you can join me 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Thursdays. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays on Twitch and Kick. If you want to see the anime research, or else that's just gonna get done and go into the archives until I am done with this priority 1 situation. Let's see. Big thanks to everybody who gave likes tonight. Big thanks to Lakiza Pink once again stopping by and hanging out in the chat room. I hope you had a lot of fun. I hope you all had a lot of fun, every single one of you. Everybody who's watching this as a VOD, thank you very much. Anybody who subscribed after watching this, thank you very much. Over on the Twitch side, 18Mendoi1, thanks for stopping by and saying hello. Let's see. And big thanks to everybody in the past 8 weeks that subscribed here on the YouTube channel. Welcome. Please enjoy all the research that I'm doing. I hope for those of you who are aspiring writers, it's helping you out. At the very least, I'm at least contributing, and helping you all out a bit. And those of you who are interested in the journey and seeing if I could get my works to a whole other level, thank you for being part of this journey. You guys are great fans. All of you are fantastic fans. Just to note, I know it's 2.5 hours that I posted up, but if you really want to get if you're really interested in my take on Nintendo Switch, I did post it here on the Writing Channel as part of the Coqui-san lore. I know it's 2.5 hours, but I had a good conversation. I do recommend watching if you're interested, especially if you're gamers. It was a pretty fascinating talk. So and thank you if you did watch the whole 2.5 hours. I know it's 2.5 hours; it's a bit much, but I do appreciate all of you who watched it. All right, so that's it. I will those of you on Twitch, I will see you all next Monday for study night, Japanese study night. Those of you on YouTube, I look forward to seeing you all on next live multi-stream next month. And on top of that, I look forward to seeing you all when I make next week's post. And just to note, next week I got BattleTech on Monday. Tuesday is the Gaslight District pilot, and Wednesday is Skibidi Toilet 78. So that's what you all look forward to in terms of the postings. So everybody, until the next live YouTube multi-stream, thank you all for joining me, and I wish you all a good night, a buenas noches, and oyasumi nasai.